All right, we have descended. Evan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We are here to talk about Darkland. So I think, a couple things we wanted to share today. One series has launched in a couple different places. So for anyone that hasn't yet realized that, it's very important to realize that you can now read this thing, which is awesome. And it's continuing to come out so you can read more of it. And then there's going to be more of it in different ways to experience this. Also, I don't know about you, but the endless opportunity to make puns around devilishness and hellishness and being damned and all of that is just too much fun for me. So
That's kind of why I wrote it in the first place. Is there's a lot of that stuff in there to begin with, but yeah, no, it is gratifying. I mean, you know how much it meant to me personally, to get as many people to read this as possible. And
yeah.
so to see it up on Macroverse, but then also on Webtoons and have it come out, in bigger doses that you can subscribe to on the app. And by the
Oh
way,
no,
I have had
issues again.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're
It's working
pausing a
on my
little. Okay, good. Well,
I
I
think
don't
it
know.
may be
Hopefully,
I think it may be on your end.
maybe it's in my end. The
So
devil is in the details. So hopefully
so
the people watching are seeing this.
but I will say people who are comic book nerds that or just true graphic novelist fans really love the Macroverse app and the experience there and watching the content through that prism is just that's where it should be experienced. That said,
Yeah.
Webtoons is also a really nice proximity to it, and the fact that you can read it there for free, although behind the Macroverse subs, I just think it's just really great. And it's the response that I've gotten from my inner circle has been really good. So thank you
That's
for being a believer in it.
100% a believer. I'm looking for the pun there, but it's just not coming. Believer.
Follower.
Following the good word of Darkland, 100%. Yeah, I think,
You're a you're a Darkland demon.
Yes, that'll be the fan club. But although Darklanders has a lot of fun to me as well. But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Sure.
Well, I mean, one of the things as you bring up the different formats, I mean, I think it's become something I really like to talk about with people who may not understand kind of the way comics work from a storytelling standpoint, from a creative standpoint of how we actually make these things. And it's one of the things that, has been fun for me over the last couple of years as, kind of the architect around what we've been building at Macroverse. A lot of it kind of really thinking and figuring out, how do these different formats work and how do we optimize the story that we're telling and creating for different experiences for different audiences. And so I think it's, I would encourage people who do nerd out about this kind of stuff to that, all the different formats and kind of look at how the storytelling works, because there are actually real specific things that each format does really well. And our intent as we craft these things is not just to like port it from one to the other, but to actually really lean into those things so that, when we're on the Webtoons app and you're scrolling, you're really getting an optimized version of the story for that. And when you're the Macroverse app and you're tapping through it, you're getting a much more kind of cinematic, dynamic experience, but kind of leaning into those different strengths is something we actually spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to do.
And that I think this because you and I talk about this stuff all the time, but you also read a lot of the stuff that I write, which is the yes and of it.
Yeah.
The ability to give the audience the choice of experience, not just what to watch and where to watch, but how to, and personalizing that experience and being a yes and experience for audiences. And then to take it a step further, which is part of your commentary, and build that around the communities themselves. So the Webtoons community is one thing and the Macroverse community is another, and you want to hyper serve those audiences. So yeah, I really appreciate the way you adapted the Frank's beautiful artwork from the touchscreen version that we had in
Yes.
Macroverse to the scroll version in webtoons, and it's not just ported over. It is redesigned and rebuilt for that experience. So yeah, and I think I think the ethos that you guys bring to what you do with regards to, you know, treating the community and the art as primary is just wonderful. It's why I like working with you guys.
Likewise. Well, thank you. I thought let's just sneak peek of this. So this is looks like on Webtoons, and you can see there's
Yeah.
you know, this teaser, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 have been released. So Webtoons chapters are coming, and show a little sneak peek of this because you mentioned Frank's art, and just ties the whole thing together because, you know, the story was great, just brought something truly delightful and demonically magical to the table.
Yeah, so that's Lucifer. That's Lucifer and Eve right there, and that is the garden that they're in. So the story is there. As you can see, it's maybe a little not safe for work, and you know, the Frank's expression. Yeah, no, it just really, everything I saw in my mind's eye when I wrote this is on the screen.
Yeah.
And his work, and you know, frankly, your art design, because you're very hands-on on every aspect of this, and script design. You and Adam will give tremendous notes on the artistic process, but then there's the ultimate, like, technical aspect of art design that the hours that you put into this and meticulousness that you put into this, that shows up on screen. Again, it's funny to say on screen, but it is on screen. I mean, look at this exchange right here. You know, this is, you know, this adds elements and a look and feel and just a mood that you know, there's no set here, right? And this is a series of choices that Frank made, but also you made in the process, that I don't know that I would have made those choices. So, and this is Michael the Archangel and his, you know, it really is, you know, to take the written word, it's a shot list, you know, it's a really wonderfully done movie in art. And just, you know, I love it. It's truly wonderful.
Yeah, it is so much fun to work with, and it's, you know, what I love working in. And I'll also shout out Steven on our team, who's our head of production on this stuff. So it's like he and I have spent so much time dissecting, like, you know, what is it that, how do you play with time, how do you, you know, create tension, you know, in these different formats, how do you build something up, you know, kind of, you know, it's been I think, you know, I can't think of anyone, and yeah, I'm sure there may be some other people out there to see this. Let's talk, because I geek out. It's like, you know, there was a book called Understanding Comics, which came out years ago, and is kind of a standard reference by Scott McCloud for kind of just, you know, a breakdown of like how traditional comics work. And it's just a math, like a real dissection of the art form, you know, and more than it ever needed to be dissected. But I think that was very much, you know, traditional comics, and those same kinds of, that same kind of thinking and kind of critical understanding, you know, to these new formats led to the creation of this, you know, tab story format, which is unique to Macroverse, and show a little example of that as well, so you can kind of get the compare and contrast between the two, because I think
Yeah,
the main thing that we really
yeah, what I was going to say is my soon to be sister-in-law is a big comic fan, and she has been waiting for this to come out for a while, and so I sent it to her when it came out, and she wrote back. She's like, love the story, love the artwork, it's really wonderful. This Macroverse experience is next level. And I'm not just pimping that because you guys have my comic. I mean, I was really impressed with how impressed she was. You know what I mean? So, and everybody I know who has a comic love and wants to go in here, this is a great scene. This is the first thing I wrote, right? I think the first thing you read was, this is the scene where as you pull back, I guess I shouldn't reveal it, right? Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Yes, as you pull back, you reveal what they are eating.
Right, exactly. But in and what's fascinating is this is exactly how I wrote, not how I wrote the original. So these are the 7 princes of hell, or the ones that are still alive. So let's okay. So let's go back. Let's go back. Go backwards if you can. So these are the 7 princes of hell. Beelzebub and Lucifer are not the same person. Beelzebub, Lucifer, and Satan are 3 different beings. They are all fallen angels. They used to be angels. And this is not my interpretation, by the way. This is what's in the book. So there are 3 different angels who fell. Lucifer, in my telling of this, is basically the consigliere of Satan. Satan is Lucifer is complaining about people's table etiquette. There's Belphegor, who is, and they're each kind of tied to sins as well. I did that. That is my doing, not necessarily the biblical interpretation, although there are interpretations that have it. Anyway, Satan and any being in hell can die, can perish, not from old age, not really from sickness, but from being killed, as we like to say.
Yes.
And so we are on the 3rd Satan, 3rd in line. And Lucifer is kind of the aged consigliere to the young king, who is non-binary. So Satan the 3rd is they. And these are the other princes of hell, basically saying, why are they not in a meeting that Satan? They're complaining like everybody does at work. Why is Satan having a meeting that I'm not in? And they're asking Lucifer why. And they're eating a human who is alive, or at least awake, for the meal. Anyway, and you can see, as I was writing this, I rewriting it. So I wrote it as a television pilot a long time ago. And as I was rewriting it, I wrote it for this experience, this click-through experience. So shot by shot by shot. And you and Adam went in and fixed what I got wrong. But these stacked interplays here, and the kind of page by page turn. At least I tried to write the scenes that way. You guys perfected it in execution. But it was really meant for the kind of pseudo animation almost that the Macroverse experience offers, which is like nothing else I've ever seen, to be blunt.
Yeah. Yeah, I
it's really
appreciate that.
good,
It's,
right?
you know,
Like, look how good just look how good it. I mean, and I'm not being egotistical here. I didn't have anything to draw. No one's reading it. Like, I'm sure the jokes will come off really, but look at these trains, man. It looks just so fucking great, right? By the way, I need
so
to get some
cool.
framed artwork from this. I have to pick which one to frame, but it's absolutely
Yes.
just, and the experience just makes you want to read it too.
Yeah, you nailed it.
It's
Literally.
great. Look at that. Come on. This is the great battle. So this is the great battle where yes. So where Satan the 2nd was killed, and then Satan the 3rd became king.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean,
look at it.
You can the show, like, feel the you know, the whole thing is just, you know, just feels like I'm in it.
Look at
Like,
that.
that's
Look at that. It's so great. Yeah, it's so great. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, cannot sing Frank's praises.
I'm geeking out about my own work. That's just terrible.
Yeah. No, I think, you know what? That's what I always say to Satan.
To Satan.
I think that's a good spot. That's a good spot to leave it on. To Satan. Here we go. Yeah. But yeah, I always, you know, it's funny. I always feel like, and I always felt like the things I knew were kind of things that mattered in my artistic progression were the things that I could almost back on and be disconnected from having created on some level, where it's like, where did that come from? Like, you know, something else, you know, kind of was here to bring that into existence. So I think, you know, yes, it's geeking out on your work, but I do think like there are moments where this like there, it all works.
And I remember Well, and I'm so much older than you that this story will probably make me sound ancient, but I remember the moment where I was inspired to write this thing. It was on a trip to Italy, with my family, with my kids, and
Yeah.
I came back and wrote it in the span of a couple weeks. That was 14 years ago. So to a certain extent, the first time I wrote this, I was in a completely different frame of mind. Then last year, when we worked together on this version of it, I had to rewrite the whole thing all over again. And to a certain extent, that experience of where did this come from in my head, I had to deal with it and then actually rewrite it, into a
Yeah.
brand new set of stories, because all I wrote was a pilot. I did not write with a 13 episode arc that's now in Macroverse and on Webtoons. And so I was like, well, who wrote this fucking I was like debating with myself on like what was I thinking when I wrote this originally? So it was a really
Yeah.
it was I mean I'm not a novelist nor am I a screenwriter necessarily, but it must have been like an experience where a screenwriter has to go back and adapt their own novel into a
Right.
screenplay. That's what it felt like for me. I was like I was arguing with myself on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's funny. I think part of what, whoa, that was unintentional.
Oh my goodness.
Um, to the macroverse. I think what, people who have heard us talk a little bit about this from the reverse event that we did, may know this story, but it's so fun when we first connected and we're looking at like, what were we going to do together? And you sent us like 3 or 4 different scripts, and we kind of came back and we're like, well, these are fine, but we really are interested in this Darkland idea. There's something really cool here. And then that was the moment where you're like, well, I wrote that one. We're like, all better.
Well, because I put a pen name on the script because I did not want you to
Yeah.
know that I wrote it, because I was afraid that you wouldn't read it.
Yeah.
Frankly, and I put my grandfather's name on it, to be truthful.
Funny.
So yeah, no, I'm really gratified. I love these characters. I specifically love the voice that we've given this, which is Lucifer, who now basically sits inside my head and narrates my
Yeah,
entire day every
absolutely.
day. So no, and I love the expressions of these characters that are now realized in I would say ink and paper, but in characters, by Frank and who did our animated cover too,
Yeah.
Bradley, right?
Bradley, yeah. So Bradley did the 3D art, and
Are you still there? I think we lost you.
actually, we're gonna do a
Yeah,
breakdown
okay.
with him on his whole process. Sorry, yes, Bradley, who did all the 3D art, which was amazing. That'll be one of the collectible covers that's coming, and we're gonna do a whole breakdown with him as well, and his process and how he made that whole thing, which was fascinating in and of itself. Like a lot of different tools to bring that whole thing together. I don't know if we should say this or not, but it's something he shared with us. I saw this. He shared on our Basecamp project that some tests he was doing with the 3D characters and mocap. And
Awesome.
oh man, we gotta figure out how to use that.
So what is this a shot of right here? Is this
So this is
a
what I wanted to
tablet?
show. So this is a
I think it's the tablet.
but the widescreen tablet version as well. And so I wanted to show a little sneak peek from episode 3. This is just, again, like leaning into the format. So we treat each widescreen version of the story for your screen or for your tablet. It's just a whole different vista, different way of experiencing the story. So there's this awesome sequence that Frank illustrated from episode 3, and you'll see episode 3 on the Macroverse app, not this Sunday but the following Sunday, and you'll see the chapters on Webtoons as they roll out. But a whole different way of experiencing it when it goes full screen. It's now we're at the movies.
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible, and this is obviously I love this as a practice. Now, this is available on desktop and laptop? I mean, tablet now?
Not yet, no.
So when is this available? I apologize for not knowing this, but when will this be available on tablet and desktop?
So the tablet widescreen versions will launch with the collectible versions, and so when that happens, we think mid January.
Cool.
Then that will be kind of all in that package.
Yeah. So this is this is just a wonderful reversioning of it. I don't know that I've seen all these screens yet. Just really great. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Like,
really on. So there. Okay. So yes, it's just a great shot. So this is the actual battle for Earth between the fallen angels, or the angels who would eventually fall, and the angels who stay, the archangels. And so what you're seeing here is on the right, that's the original Satan. That's OG Satan. That's Satan number one, who we fashion after a little bit of a Clint Eastwood. You've got Michael, the archangel, on the left there. You've got Semyaza, who's basically the chief general, Satan's chief general. And I believe that's it's not Uriel or Gabriel. I think it's Gabriel, actually, right? Standing next to Michael. So, and they're basically standing there, and this is a scene in which Michael and Satan, basically, who are best friends, they're best buds, right? They're like the stepbrothers after they became friends in Step Brothers. So, and they together built Earth by God's direction, or instruction. But they designed it, and they were promised that they were going to get it. And then God yanked it away from them and said, "Nope, can't have it." And this is the scene where Michael and Satan have to basically decide to go to war against each other, even though they love each other. And that was that. And then you capture this scene where they're looking at the battle for Earth happen. And it does. You feel especially when you know the context around it, you feel kind of like in the scene. You feel like you're in hell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it because you'll see it when the episode's released. But there's a really touching emotional moment up, as this scene plays out, and I think that's what's so great about it is I think you're getting some pretty amazing action and some pretty incredible scenes, and then you've got all the dynamics between all these interesting characters, and there's some genuine we start to care about these guys, and that's the heart of any good story. So
well, and so that's really educated to a certain extent by the fact that, I mean, if you look at the layers that modern comic book culture allows characters to have, only in that world can Michael the Archangel, who's let's be honest, a superhero, right? And Satan, who, let's be honest, is a supervillain. only in modern comic book culture, I think are we allowed for these types of archetypes to not be black and white, to be nuanced. What I love about this scene, particularly this episode in particular, is the joke count. It's a very high joke count, right? There's a joke. Every other line is a punchline or a setup. And yet you do end in an emotional hug. And the challenge was to create a scene between these two archetypes. The greatest, it is Superman and Lex Luthor, it is Joker and the Batman, right?
Right.
And have the joke count. Like if you go back to Batman, and you go back to that classic, the joke, the one we all know. But that character, those two character arcs overall, there is the love-hate nature of it and the humor aspect of it. And this scene in particular, to me, is what I tried to do to get both in there. And again, the artwork captures it. So the jokes work because of the way the layout is done. Same thing with the sitting around eating the human scene. Like the jokes only work there because of the layout of the artwork. Because if you lay that artwork out incorrectly, the jokes don't work. And so this piece has those touching and kind of action moments, but this is I think you, as you, me, and Adam agree, is a comedy at its heart.
Yeah. A dark comedy, but a great yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, it's great. I mean, he gets
Evan's Wi-Fi is
dark comedy kinds of things, like, Succession is actually a dark comedy,
right.
and Sopranos is actually a dark comedy, and it's like there are those elements, while also in some cases being willing to kind of just be a little edgier, a little more overt about it. But it all it comes together in a way that I just absolutely love. So there's a little sneak peek at some of what's coming, and this is from episode 3. Episode 2 is in full, is out on the Macroverse app right now. The first part of episode 2 is out on Webtoon. So the cadence for this is full episodes land on the Macroverse app, and then there are the dynamic tab story version, as well as early access to the story. The place to get that is on the app. And then, if you just want to dive into the scrolling format, as it comes out, that's on Webtoons. And then gorgeous widescreen versions are coming with the collectible editions early next year. One more thing I thought we could show today as a bit of a sneak peek, which I don't think we've shown much of, art from another artist named Laurent Reese. And they did an incredible job initially kind of visualizing.
And Eben, is this is up on Macroverse and Webtoon? I know it's up on Webtoons, yeah or no?
This is not up anywhere yet, so we will decide when and where to put this out. I think initially it may be a bit of a reward for early collectors to get a copy of this, and then there'll be other ways to get access to it a little bit down the road. But it's so cool to not only have gone through this incredible process with Laurent, but then also this was a lot of where we kind of not figured out, but really put together, like, what are the dynamics between all these characters. And for an audience, it almost becomes a little bit of an art book around this world. So I thought, as I kind of click through this and give a peek at it, maybe you can talk a little bit more about the dynamics of between the characters, that without too spoilery.
Sure. So this is Satan, who's the OG Satan, as I said. And this is the guy who, was right about everything. Like, Satan was right about everything. He built the earth with Michael, and then God came and said, you can't be held, you can't have it. And I'm going to give it to the humans. And Satan said, the humans can't be trusted. And he was right. This is Zagiel, who winds up marrying Satan the Third, the non-binary king of Satan or Tyre, and Darkland. For the entirety of our story, we see Satan 3 through flashback. We see Satan 2 through flashback, but the present day is Satan 3. And after Satan 2 dies in a civil war in hell with the Watchers, Satan the Third, the progeny of Satan the Second, decides to marry Zagiel, who comes from the Watcher community, as a political move to solidify power in the kingdom of Tyre or in Darkland. And she, Zagiel, is not Lady Macbeth, but she is very politically savvy and smart, but not necessarily. She's not really sure where her loyalties lie yet, with Satan, or with her cousins in the Watchers.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's great. She's very sex positive too. Lucifer is Satan the Third. Was Satan the first right hand dude, and is Satan, and continues in that same role, kind of like what's it from Aladdin, Jafar, just like Jafar to a certain extent, but a good guy.
Mm.
I mean, good guy
Yeah.
because Lucifer is very loyal to whoever is Satan, only wants
Yeah.
what Satan wants. Also very knowledgeable in the ways of the work of the universe, all the entirety of the universe. Is also the narrator of the story and is the driest motherfucker you're ever gonna meet.
Love it.
Michael is basically Idris Elba from Lucifer. Like it's Michael the Archangel. If Idris Elba from Lucifer, what was it called? Was it called Lucifer?
I
No.
believe so. Yeah. Oh.
Was it? No, it was called
Oh wait, are you talking about the detective show?
yeah.
He's in. Oh my, yeah. Yes, that one that I can't think of the name of either.
Hold
Anyone
on.
in chat? What's the Elder detective?
Luther.
Luther. There you go.
Luther.
Yes.
So Michael is Idris Elba in Luther.
Yeah.
And he's got a bit of a drinking problem and he can get drunk. He did or did not have a relationship with Eve and as in Adam.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that plot line plays very heavily in the plot. It is one of the key backbones of the entire story.
Yeah, absolutely. People will notice too, like you wrote all these great little quotes for each character, and I just love this one. I'm 10,000 years too old for this shit.
Right. Which is a reference you either get or you don't get, but it works on several different. So the General Semyaza, who was Satan the First's general, was also decided to go to war with the second Satan over control of Hell or Tyre. Semyaza, the original Semyaza with a Y, was killed in battle, as was Satan the second. Semyaza with a J, the original general's daughter, is Semyaza, Satan the third's cousin. She runs the kind of very zealous, really out there realm of hell called the Abyss, where the Watchers live, and they're the most raucous of all the inhabitants of hell. They're the Klingons of hell. And then Satan the third runs kind of the main part of hell and controls all of hell. The Watchers and the Abyss tried to splinter off in a civil war. The original Semyaza, the second Satan were killed. Semyaza is now declared peace with Satan the third after Satan the third married Semyaza's cousin, Zagiel. But it is a very tenuous peace. And that's kind of where we start the story. Semyaza is very wary of Satan, especially their relationship with Michael, and is not exactly sure how she wants to run things. She may or may not have some relationships with some non-fallen angels who are on the God side of things.
Mm-hmm. Playing both sides, and just love her design.
Semyaza loves both sides. This is Satan the third. This is they go by they. Their pronouns are they, them, and is relatively young by the standards. Thousands of years old, or versus tens of thousands of years old, and they have a very, very progressive outlook on the world, with regards to the damned, with regards to the Watchers. But is very talented, very Obama-like, actually. Satan the third is, if Obama was Satan.
Which some people would sign on for, but
yes, some people think that he is. Very diplomatic, very talented politician, to the point where they attempt to lure Michael into a scheme, and to reunite purposes with Michael, and Satan would love to convince Michael because it's a great idea, but is not also above tempting Michael through other ways. And Satan is a very, 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 to the point where they married Zagiel just as a marriage of convenience, and then ultimately wound up creating a really solid partnership with Zagiel as well. So it's a very complex character.
Yes. 100%.
Vareen,
Cool.
this is probably my favorite character to write anyway. So Vareen is Zagiel Semyaza's daughter, and it's Wednesday Addams. I wrote it, the current Wednesday. So I wrote this as the current version of Wednesday Addams 8 years ago. No, sorry, 2008. So 14 years ago. So I wrote this character as today's version of Wednesday, a sociopathic serial killer, chain smoking demon who talks like I don't even know, Jimmy Hoffa. So yeah, not a reference a lot of people are going to get, but great character to write, really fun.
Yeah, she's great. It's a nice juicy twist coming with her near the end of the series. Too.
Absolutely, one of my favorite moments to write. And I knew the second I wrote her, I knew that's where it was headed. This is her twin brother Gressel, who is basically just a dumb lunk, all muscle. So think of every great lunky character from Disney history, and this is him. What's the character from Beauty and the Beast? I can't remember. Anyway, this is the big lunkhead, but he's an incredible warrior, an incredible soldier, and just really, really strong, but an idiot.
Yes, you can see it.
Yeah. This is Isabella, who's Zagiel's sister, queer, a lot of fun. Basically, that great sidekick character that the lead female character always has.
Yes, very cool.
This is the accountant of hell, Mammon. So he's the head of the treasury, basically.
We saw him feasting in episode 2.
Yeah, we're not really sure where his loyalties lie, to be honest with you. We're unsure where his loyalties lie. Beelzebub, we know where his loyalties lie. Always with Satan, but always begrudging. Leviathan is Satan's muscle. Basically, this is the super soldier. This is Satan's super soldier. We can go on. Gabriel, this is one cold motherfucker. So Gabriel is basically Homelander. For just a shorthand. So he's an archangel. He's the one with the horn. This is the lead fighter of the good side, or the quote unquote good side of the angel situation. But he's a sociopath. They are a sociopath. I built this kind of around Kate Blanchett. And if you remember the character that she played in Thor, very much in line with that. Also non-binary, but just a pure sociopath. And no, I can't. Kills some very important characters.
And I love this illustration by Laurent.
Yeah, just really captures the sociopathy very, very well. Uriel is also kind of troubled, very much looking for a way to, though, not very, very, very curious about the science of heaven and hell, and really trying to understand the best way to kind of shorten the pathway between the two. But an archangel, an angel, Uriel. Really weird character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just said there's a lot of that in the best possible way, but
yeah. Camille's not a main character, but very much involved on the God Squad. Go ahead. I think that may be it. Oh, Esther. So Esther is Eve's great granddaughter.
Yes.
I can't say anything else without giving away the plot. And then this is Eve, who is a wonderful character, just a wonderful,
She's fantastic.
complicated
Yeah.
character.
She's been
And
around the block.
yeah, she has been around the block. She's wonderful. There's an interchange in that first episode that you were showing where Michael shows up to a conversation between Lucifer and Eve. And it's literally the recreation of the snake in the Garden of Eden. And Michael says to Eve, "Where's Adam?" And Eve says, "I don't know, probably fucking sheep again." And that's Eve in a kind of nutshell. She is a wisecracking, the first woman, in every way, shape, or form. She's just really, really, really funny and fun and different than I think a lot of people think of Eve. And to a certain extent, to be honest with you, inspired by Killing Eve and Villamel. Sarah is actually the only damned human character we get to know other than Terrence. So they are brother and sister, and they are human damned slaves. Sarah is the slave of Satan, and Terrence is the slave of Zagiel. Satan gifts Terrence to Zagiel on their wedding night. And they have a very complicated relationship with the king and queen. Sexual torture porny. But they also wind up having a very interesting twist at the very end.
They do indeed, yes.
And then these are kind of like the pawns in the game of chess between Satan and Semyaza. These are basically the offspring of humans and fallen angels, and they are basically mindless toys to fight with and fuck with and play with. They're basically disposable beings who are there to do the bidding of the fallen angels. But are really just kind of the flying monkeys of this story.
Yeah.
And then these are the Watchers. This is Semyaza's basically constituency. A little fucked up, very crazy, like the opium den of this story, but very powerful. And have definitely the ability to fight and take over hell if they can get organized enough.
A big if, but yes, they're so cool.
Satan 2 is the generation between Satan 1 and Satan 3. Out of his goddamn mind. Just fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Think think Hamilton's George III, the Mad King George. So if you've ever seen Hamilton, who sings "You'll Be Back," that's this Satan. He was out of his mind. So he started the war with the Watchers and Semyaza, and it didn't wind up well for him. Hence Satan 3.
Yeah. I think the last line, he's not a good dude.
Even for Satan. And that's kind of the sense of humor of the story, is like, even for Satan, not a good guy.
Yeah.
But Satan won. Satan won was right. Not a great guy, but absolutely correct about everything. Satan 3, a complicated, actually could be a good entity, right? An entity for good. But still Satan.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, still Satan. Can't separate the person from the job. Like, at the end of the day, you still work at Fox News, right? So
right.
You could be the best person, you still work at Fox News. So but Satan 2, totally fucked up. Just kill you just for the fun of it.
Amazing. Well, I think, thank you for that. And I think what I was hoping people would see is like, man, there is a rich world here, and we explore a lot of it in this first season, and also, have a lot of room to continue to explore. But it's such a rich world, and it's a world that, you as the creator should, but it's, I think, cool for people to see just like how intimately knowledgeable you are of every facet of it. You know,
Wow.
could probably talk for an hour about why they are butting heads about a particular issue, which, you know,
Yeah,
is
I could do the whole 13 episodes for you if you want me to
yeah.
right here. But no, it's a rich you, but I mean, I absolutely I owe the ability to go this deep into it. And I don't mean on this call right here, but I mean just the ability to build out the world because you gave me a plot of land to build it on. If I didn't
Yeah.
have the catalyst or the inspiration to do it, I would have left it at the television pilot I wrote 14 years ago. I never would have picked it up again. And so, you know, the ability to have a canvas like yours and an artist like Frank, you know, and all the other artists who participated in this as well. You know, that's why I can go that deep on it, is because I was given the pool to swim in, you know.
Well, thank you for that. It's a mutual appreciation society here for sure.
Thanks.
So so yeah, I mean, thanks for jumping on. I think that's what I wanted
Thanks.
to kind of share with people today. And, you know, I went this far to just check out the series. So again, there are, you know, 2 places to see it right now, and then 1 more place to get involved in it early next year. So right now there are full episodes on the Macroverse app. So you can easily find that app on iOS or Android by searching Macroverse. It's a $4.99 monthly subscription for early access, not just to Darkland, but for the other 50 series that are on the app content, you know, once you've to join the Macroverse. And early episodes will always land there first in full in that tap story format that we showed you. And then chapters of those episodes land on Webtoons for free every Tuesday. So, you know, you can find those there. And then collectible editions of these, which is a whole experience that we'll come back and talk more about, will be launching early next year. And if you want to get more information, sale list for that, that's at macroverse.com. You can get on the list for those. So lots of ways to experience Darkland coming, and we'll, I'm sure, have lots more to share and talk about as it rolls out. But I'm just thrilled to have it out in the world. So I hope people will come to hell with us and let us know their thoughts as they do.
Come to hell. It's actually a lot like Earth right now.
Yeah. There's our tagline. I'll see you weekend.
Thank you.
And we'll be back soon.